Lovely greetings to you, wonderful students. I welcome you to today's class. Recall in the last class we started the topic Introduction to Farm Animal Nutrition, and during that class I explained the definition of animal nutrition. I also stated the essence of animal nutrition to farm animals, the essence of studying the field of animal nutrition to farm animals, and also to farmers. In the class I stated that feed is one of those things that helps farm animals have good growth, and also lack of feed will lead to low birth weight or loss of weight, and the lack of feed will also lack of good food to farm animals will also lead to poor reproduction, and it will lead to death of farm animals in some cases. So in that class, I explained the meaning of animal nutrition. I explained the the classification of the livestock feed, and in that class, I explained the different types of classification of livestock feed, like the BASA or energy feed, which is also known as carbohydrate concentrate or oil feeds. I also taught you protein concentrate, mineral and vitamin supplements. I also explained to you roughages. I was able to explain to you that protein concentrates are highly digestible, as well as carbohydrate concentrates, but roughages are very low in digestibility. Now in today's class, I'll be explaining to you nutrients in feedstuff. Recall when we were a lot younger, we were told that the nutrients in feed food contains six classes of nutrients, but in this class I'll be explaining to you just 5 of them. Water exclusive, carbohydrates, proteins, fats and oils, which is also referred to as lipids, minerals and vitamins, are all the nutrients found in livestock feed. Now carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, just the 3 of them. It doesn't include sulfur. Now, sources of carbohydrate to farm animals include the maize, guinea corn, which is also known as sorghum, cassava, even grasses. So many grasses contains carbohydrate. Wheat is also an example of carbohydrate source. Potatoes, rice, millet, yam, cocoyam, plantain, forage grasses, hay, silages, molasses, and spent grains. All these are sources of carbohydrate that are given to farm animals. And if you notice, carbohydrates, they are high in starch or sugars, most especially glucose and fructose and maltose. All these are what makes up carbohydrates. Although in some cases you find out there are some carbohydrate feedstuff that has very low quantity of protein in them, but in this case we are talking about those that have high quantity or high concentration of starch or sugars in them. They are classified as carbohydrate feedstuff. Like I said, they provide energy to farm animals. Now protein is composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and sometimes sulfur, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Now, because they are organic, proteins and carbohydrates are organic, that's why they contain the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So both proteins and carbohydrates, they are organic, so that's why they contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And in addition to proteins sometimes have sulfur, nitrogen, or phosphorus. So that's why sometimes you might hear of sulfur containing amino acids and the other types of amino acids. Now, sources of proteins include blood meal, meat meal, feather meal, shrimp head, and even milk. So we plant proteins. Now, fats and oils are composed. Lipids is divided into fats and oils, which also is composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That means that they are organic materials. So they are gotten from oil palm kernel cake, groundnut cake, coconut meal, linseed cake, cottonseed meal, and even animal fat. Now, fats provide more energy than carbohydrates. Fats supply the essential fatty acids and fat buildup. Fat also provides fat-soluble vitamins. Now, minerals are usually grouped into macro minerals and trace or micro minerals. The micro minerals, not that they are not needed, but they are usually required in very small quantity, whereas the macro minerals are usually needed in large quantity. The macro minerals include the calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, sodium, and chlorine, while the micro minerals include iodine, cobalt, iron, copper, manganese, zinc, and fluorine. Now, sources of minerals to farm animals include bone meal, oyster shell, limestone, and salt licks, that is LICKS. Now, most times minerals are required by in certain quantities. They help in formulation of hormones. Minerals also help to regulate blood clotting. Minerals help to prevent diseases. Minerals promote body growth. Minerals are also involved in skeletal growth of farm animals. Now, vitamins are usually organic. They are organic substances and are required by animals for proper growth and development. Now, vitamins can also be grouped into two. We have the fat-soluble vitamins and the water-soluble vitamins. Now, the fat-soluble vitamins are usually soluble in fat, and examples are vitamins A, vitamins D, vitamins E, and vitamins K. While the water-soluble vitamins are members of the B complex. So, water-soluble vitamins are usually basically two groups. That is vitamin C and vitamin B complex. Now, vitamin B complex includes thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pyridoxine, and folic acid. Now, vitamins have several uses. One of the uses is that it aids reproduction and as an antioxidant. Now, nutrients and their deficiency symptoms. Now, number one here is calcium. Calcium is required for bone and teeth formation, eggshell formation, and blood clotting. Now, a deficiency symptom of calcium is that the animal will come down with rickets. The birds may lay soft-shelled egg, may also have retarded growth when there is lack of calcium. And also when there is lack of phosphorus, the animal will come down with rickets. We also lack appetite, and we also have osteomalacia. Okay. Now, magnesium, which is one of the macro minerals, when there is a deficiency of magnesium, the animal will have a nervous disorder, which is usually called tetany. Magnesium is needed in order to function for the functioning of the nervous system and the activation of enzymes. Sodium and chlorine are usually required in farm animals in order to help with appetite, and an inadequacy of sodium and chlorine usually lead to reduced growth and reduced weight and even decline in appetite. Deficiency of sulfur also leads to poor growth. Deficiency of copper leads to anemia. Deficiency of iodine leads to goiter. Deficiency of fluorine leads to tooth decay. Deficiency of cobalt leads to general malnutrition. The animal will not grow. Then again, the deficiency of iron, most especially in pigs, usually cause anemia. Iron is usually a constituent of the hemoglobin in red blood cell. So once the iron is deficient, the animal will come down with anemia. And once there is the copper is also required for the formation of hemoglobin and iron absorption. So a deficiency of copper will lead to anemia in farm animals. Then concerning vitamins now, a deficiency of vitamin A will lead to night blindness in farm animals. A deficiency of vitamin C will cause scurvy in farm animals. With deficiency of vitamin D, because vitamin D helps for bone and teeth formation and also eggshell formation. Deficiency of vitamin D will also definitely lead to rickets. So vitamin D and calcium together with phosphorus, they work hand in hand. Now, malnutrition and its effects in farm animals. Malnutrition is a condition in which an animal shows evidence of nutritional deficiency. It usually occurs when the ration does not supply all the essential nutrients in the right proportion and quantities, which means that it can result in an animal, it can be as a result of an animal not taking in sufficient food, or when the animal eats a diet which is deficient in one or more nutrients like proteins, like vitamins, like carbohydrates, and so on. One of we have so many malnutritional diseases. We have rickets. There is also parosis, that is slip tendon, which is common in turkeys. We have pregnancy toxemia. We have milk fever. There's also grass tetany. All these are malnutritional diseases. There's also night blindness, scurvy, and beriberi. Now, symptoms of rickets is flexible and curved bones, soft-shelled eggs. The chicken will lie down on their keels. That is for slip tendon. Now, a way of correcting rickets and slip tendon is by adding fish meal to the feed. There's also addition of bone meal, oyster shell to the feed, and also addition of B complexes and bone meal to the feed. For grass tetany, which is caused by low blood magnesium, the symptoms of grass tetany is usually nervousness, convulsion. Okay, then the animal, it can be corrected by feeding the animal with quality grasses and legumes to the animals. Now, don't forget, in this class I've been able to explain to you malnutrition in farm animals, and also I've been able to explain to you some of the deficiency symptoms of some nutrients, especially minerals and vitamins. The deficiency symptoms, I've also been able to explain to you the characteristics and also the sources of the nutrients found in feed. Don't forget, I said that proteins are usually essential for the growth of young ones. Protein is also necessary for flesh build-up. Protein is also involved in the formation. It's also involved in the formation of horns, hooves, wool, and feathers. Protein is also equally useful in the production of antibodies. So without protein, the animal may not be able to produce enough antibodies. So protein is very essential. I also explained to you that carbohydrates is essential for milk production and other activities like fat buildup. I hope you enjoyed today's class. I will see you in the next class. Do have a wonderful time. Bye.